I'd like to call the July 1st, 2021 work session to order. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not considered a public community meeting. Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mrs. Golden?
Yes. The meeting has been called to order. We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'd love for you to join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
So moved. Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions or changes in the agenda?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, I have some changes. First, there are changes to the personnel agenda. Second, I would like for us to remove section C of the superintendent's report.
Okay, so we're removing section C. Okay,
And then to add a section G, which is a bus purchase for fiscal year 2022.
okay. So the personnel agenda that is on here, we have replaced here. These are the corrections, or?
Yes, I believe they're bolded.
Okay, gotcha. And then we're removing section C and we're adding section G.
Yes.
Under superintendent's report.
Yes.
Are there any other corrections to the agenda?
This personnel agenda, this is not the same that's in the attachment.
It's
Right.
It's, right, but it's been updated,
Okay.
yes.
So then this is the one that we need to be looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're getting rid of this one here. Okay, gotcha. Any others? Okay. Hearing none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Golden?
Yes, the agenda has been approved with the changes. Now moving to, looks like we have a presentation, teacher presentation of the 9th through 12th grade ELA, Yeah, okay, ELA textbook adoption.
Yes, and I would like to call forward Mr. Nate Warner to introduce the presenters.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I have asked Maria Cockcroft and Rhonda Traylor, they are department heads at the high school, who led the adoption process, to come and make a presentation to you so that you can hear their process and selection of the materials. Ms. Cockcroft, Ms. Traylor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How you guys doing?
We're good.
All righty. We're gonna just go ahead and, I got it.
Yep. So before we looked at specific books, we came to our PLC and we looked at our department needs and our concerns. This is a compilation of just not last year, but over the course of a couple years. We were looking for consistent standards-based instruction, so a curriculum that would be aligned with standards, put standards first. We also knew that per the TMCS literacy audit in June 2018, that we have some issues or gaps in phonemic awareness and phonics, and we wanted a curriculum that would help address that at the 9 through 12 level. We were also looking for addressing gaps and increasing rigor, especially for our students who excel. So either to differentiate with vocabulary, close reading skills, comprehension, writing, and reading stamina. We also wanted to build consistency from 9th through 12th grade so that when a student is in 9th grade ELA, they go to 10th grade and they already have a foundation, we speak the same language, so we wanted a curriculum that would encompass all of that. Additionally, we teach thematically, so we wanted the leeway to be able to have thematic units as well. We wanted it to be data-driven. In fact, we wanted a system within the curriculum that helps produce the data, so we weren't going outside it, so it's all in one-stop shop. Additionally, we wanted to also look for culturally relevant texts, which we realized that our collections in the past did not always have the most culturally relevant texts for our students.
So the process that we went through, there was a subcommittee, and it was me, Michelle Goodpaster, and Ms. Cockcroft, and the three of us together are the ones that actually sat down and went through the hard process of actually looking through the different types of books that are out there. There's so many choices, there's so many selections, and we had to narrow that down. So we reviewed 3 different systems: the Intro to Lit section, Springboard, and Bedford, Freeman, and Worth. And what we ultimately chose was Intro to Lit, and we really, really liked this one, and we'll tell you all the reasons why, okay?
As far as the process before, as we looked at each of those systems, we first went to Ed Reports, which is an independent nonprofit, which helps to give designations to each of the curriculums, and you'll see a little bit, some screenshots of that. So we started there, we looked at the data first, like what is everyone else saying, and then figured out would that meet our needs and concerns. We also looked at the online component as well, and we were, again, looking at alignment of standards.
So this is one of the screenshots from Ed Reports. And as you can see, this is our Intro to Lit. It's green across the board. Everything on here met expectations: text quality, building knowledge, their alignment rating, and the usability rating. We thought these were very important. It's across all 4 grade levels. Everything that they do, they're doing well. And the Ed Reports thing, they did all, it was really, really comprehensive, and it was kind of interesting to see the differences and who they looked at and who they didn't look at. But it was very, very thorough. And then this is specifically alignment and usability for 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. And as you can see, those scores are also very, very high. And they got bright red greens in every place, bright greens in every area that they needed to. And we found that as well as we were looking through the text.
So there are a couple of reasons why we went through with this. It really does align with standards. When we tend to teach, we choose our standards, and then we fit the text in between, inside it. It is a familiar layout, so HMH did produce collections, but it is different than collections. It is far more balanced. It has both literary and informational text. What we found with collections previously, they were very, very heavy on informational, which helped increase that skill for our students, but then their skill for literary analysis went down, and that didn't help them so much on the final test and beyond high school. We also like that it is a consumable textbook, which means we can increase their note-taking and annotation skills, which is one of the really good close reading skills that will help our students, bridge gaps and excel.
It's also a very high yield for a learning strategy. It is one of the top learning strategies, is note taking.
But the other thing we liked about it was that it offered guidance for teachers. So for everything that you read, or for every unit, if you have a student with ELL, or an ELL, or with an IEP, or gifted, has all of that laid out for the teacher, which allows the teacher more time in the classroom in front of the students giving feedback.
It's also very student-centered. And I know that if we look at, we're always talking about not having the teacher be the sage on the stage. You guys have all heard that expression. That is not what we want, because we want our students up and interacting and learning. And so therefore, it's very, very student-centered. That's going to help a lot too. And that close reading skills focus is once again highlighted as we go through. I just want to make sure we stick with our time here, because I know we've only got about 4 minutes, so we're going to keep going. Skills mastery focus. So it really is skills. English is about the skills. It's about you knowing what to do so that you can actually attack what it is that is in front of you using the skills that you've been taught to do. It's why our students struggle a little bit, because they're not just learning knowledge. And this book is very, very skills focused. It's also consistent with that annotation and note-taking. We've seen that consistency through all of the grade levels. They actually have a little icons that they use. And those separate icons that they select will highlight, they'll say, this is what we want you to do here. So maybe it's a light bulb, or maybe it's a hand, or maybe it's a check mark. Each of those things goes through all of those books, and they also go through the 6th through 8th grade books too. So it's a skill that, and so when they get to 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade, I'm not reteaching that because you've already been introduced to it, and it makes your learning faster. And we also have that it aligns with culturally responsive text, and it is supports social emotional learning. They've got components in there for the social emotional piece, which I thought was really cool. It provides DOK levels so that we know where we are. We're not sticking at that DOK 1. We make sure we're going from 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's got extensive resources. Those resources from online, from printable worksheets, the actual textbook itself. There's a lot of different things, and you can hit it from a lot of different areas.
It gives students a lot more choice so that they can get into the text that meets their needs the most, far more than our previous collections have done. And that's what we really enjoyed about the student, especially the online component. There's several voice and choice, and we know that that helps engage our students.
And the other piece about it being extensive and the things that they're going to give to us that we don't have to actually do, we want to spend time giving feedback to our students. Feedback is another high-yield strategy. And the students can know quickly how they did so that they can change and improve. When we give that back to them fast, then we can see change better. We can see a lot of growth better. It's a wonderful thing. And so if we're spending less time having to create things, now we have more time to interact with our kids. And that's where we want to be. We want to be in front of our students. And our last one on this thing doesn't like me. I told you it didn't like me. But he does, so it works out.
I think, no, the next one up. We've kind of talked.
That's springboard. Go back. Go back again. There you go.
I think we
That's
talked
awesome.
about the differentiation and rigor. One of the other things that it does is we are also novel-based, and we want to be able to fit our novels within that thematic unit. So it provides suggestions. Even though we as teachers have an idea, it takes more time away from us that we can be with the kids. And the additional thing is, again, the data is right there so we can make well-informed decisions with our kids.
So, and then the next few slides just actually tell you why we didn't choose the other ones. We're gonna make this available to you guys if you'd like to look at that piece. But we thought it was more important for you to see why we did choose this one. So, you have any questions?
I do,
Yep.
actually. I think it's great that you have the pacing guides and all the resources, because I understand how important that is. But I would like a little bit more clarity on the culturally relevant piece. I know you said it a couple of times, but I just would like, I guess, for you to break that down for me a bit. What do you mean by that? What does that look like?
One of the things that you see as you look through this text is that there are a lot of different cultures included in it. So first of all, it's very inclusive. You'll see there's text in Arabic, and there's Hispanic, and there's Asian, and there's Indian and Chinese. It's not just the continent of Asia. I mean, sometimes we can be guilty ourselves of that. There's also text from African authors. And those kinds of perspective and ideas that the kids get an opportunity to explore opens up a world of things for them. I think exposure is one of the things our kids need more than anything else. The more that we can give to them, and that includes on the cultural piece. So therefore, they're also opening their minds, not just to their own culture, but to everyone else's culture as well. And they ask pointed questions. Yeah, we're done, right? Okay. I had my timer on for my 10 minutes. So. But a lot of the questions and things that are involved in that also talks you through some of it. There's some pieces in there that are going to help a teacher that might struggle a little bit with the idea of how to approach that conversation. If you have a teacher who's not comfortable with those ideas and those suggestions, or they're not comfortable with being able to say, okay, this is out here, how do I attack this, and make sure that I am being considerate and honest and true to who I am, and honest and true to the students and their own culture. And that's a big piece that you'll see that is part of this literature and this novel, this book set.
Because that would be interesting. For instance, if you have a teacher who maybe is not used to or does not understand someone or the culture of the Middle East, how would they then teach children about it? Or would they skip that chapter because maybe they have some implicit bias about people from the Middle East. So we have to be sure that our faculty members are up to
Culturally
speed.
responsive, yes.
And that they have been able to flush out, you know, maybe some problems or issues they have with culture.
I had a student from Syria, and this student came in one day, and people were upset because Trump had made a decision to bomb parts of Syria. And he came in, and he was so upset, because he understood, but he couldn't express it, so he got up there with his phone and I started interpreting for him. And he said, "You don't know the people that have died, all of the people that the government had killed." And he's showing me pictures of family members that have died in this. He says, we say thank you to Trump. He's saying this, and you know, most of our students are looking at thank you to who, you know? But he had another perspective, and it opened a lot of different dialogue. He actually showed me how to put a hijab on, and we had a lot of wonderful conversations because he was able to stand up and express himself there. And we had been reading some books that, some things in our textbooks that related to that, and he felt comfortable, and it was wonderful for our students. It was a wonderful experience for our students. That's what education is all about, is those experiences. And
So one of my questions actually was about the cultural relevant piece, but how, it explains culturally relevant text, but how does it align to culturally responsive teaching? And are they the same?
You have to know your students who are in the class to be able to respond to those students. So if I have a student who's LGBTQ, or if I have a student of different nationalities, I need to be able as a teacher to respond and provide text and learning experiences and assignments that are going to validate them and support them. So I think they go hand in hand. You have culturally relevant text, but it's also your approach to teaching as well.
Okay.
And so it does give the curriculum does give suggestions there. But I think the larger piece of that is in our PLC, in our discussions as a department, we work through those components too.
And for those of us who are not teachers or college professors, DOK is depth of knowledge?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
You traditionally want your kids to be able to reach for 3 and 4.
Okay.
But you gotta be able to scaffold in there.
Thank you.
No, you can't give, and people do it, you can't give a bunch of DOK 1 activities and then give a DOK 4 exam. Well, how are they supposed to get there? What did you do to get them there? And this book actually specifies ways to do that, which will help guide our teachers.
Can we get a copy of the book? Or can we get a book?
We, each of our grade level teachers, we haven't ordered them yet, but we have the ones that we have, and each of our grade level teachers has it in case, you know, once we get to go, they can be like, okay, now we gotta put it together. I don't have an extra one.
Yeah, we still do our own pacing guides.
But I think we have a digital. I think I can probably, if it's still in act, Kiara set it up for me. There's a password so that I could send you guys the digital one if you wanted to look at it.
I would like the digital one before we vote on it.
I don't have a computer right now. but-
I mean, not today. We're not gonna vote on it today. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, you sure you don't want to vote today? Because, you know, we need our books so we can be ready in the fall.
Well, for today, this is informational anyway, but hopefully
Yes,
by the
ma'am.
15th. So as soon as you can
Okay.
get it, if you can get it out, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. That was excellent.
Thank you.
The curriculum is into literature, and then ed reports was like the report, that we evaluate, what we used to evaluate.
Thank you. Did you have any other questions? Thanks very much.
All righty. Moving on to item 3, which is our consent agenda. Item 3A is the approval of the student activity purpose statement and budget for the ELC. And then item 3B is approval of the agreement for the school nursing services. I need a motion for that consent agenda.
Is that for action?
It is for action. It was on the agenda,
On the 24th.
yeah, for information.
So moved.
Yeah,
So moved.
and I need a second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions, concerns about the consent agenda? Hearing none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Goldsmith?
Yes, the consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to the treasurer's report, item 4A, Ms. Allen.
I have several things this evening. shut down the system, and this came after we shut down the system. So I had to shut down the financial system on that Tuesday, I think the 22nd, in order to do all the reports to present to you guys on the 24th. This came in after, and so because there was no one to put a requisition purchase order on, then it has to come before the board to, for approval. I actually did pull the backup for it, and out of the $14,000, $8,000 of it was for the Title IX training that they came and gave the administrators 2-day training on Title IX. So I kind of looked at that, so $8,000 of that was for that. And the other,
Some training.
the second one is to ProSource, and the invoice date again was June 23rd, and that was right after we closed down the system. That was for the appliance and cloud licenses, and Mr. Howard was trying to explain exactly what that was, and maybe you might want to give us more information, but that was, the total was $9,821.18, and that's the same situation where we shut down the system, and we got those invoices after we shut down the system, so there could not be a requisition or requisition process into a purchase order because the system was shut.
Okay.
So that, again, as I said, both of those were for information
Okay.
purposes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And then the last thing, this was a request from Mr. Scarce at the June 17th meeting. I had given you guys some information on the board compensation, and I actually updated it a different way to give you information on the number of meetings that have been held and the number of meetings that are proposed. And so, so the total, you can see the potential number of meetings to be paid. The maximum is 37 meetings so far. And so in order for us to make sure that we're under the $5,000 per board member in a calendar year, the maximum would be 40 meetings. So Mr. Scarce did ask me to put that on so that the community could see that information. So I complied. And so that's information, nothing to be approved or anything, but just information for you guys.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Next, we have superintendent's report, item 5. So we'll start with item 5A. Dr.
Okay,
Kosky?
item 5A is approval of the Samaritan Behavioral Health Contract, and that is for information. I could give you a little bit on that one. It's for 5 mental health professionals for our students, and that contract is for $275,000. And B is approval of property for sale that we are selling. And as you'll see, we have a tractor that we're selling. And we have in here some comparisons in your document, so you'll be able to see that the price that we'll be getting for the tractor is right in line with what other tractors similar to ours are being sold for. So again, that's for information. C is approval, that we removed C, removed C, and so now we're at D. D is the first reading of our policy on open enrollment. E is approval of the 9th through 12th grade ELA textbook adoption. Again, that's information, that's the presentation that we just had. Okay, and now we're at F, which is our personnel agenda, and again, this is for information, this meeting. And so I'll just sort of read through what we have here. A1, a recommendation for the approval of the following administrative resignations for the 2021 school year. A2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following 2-year administrative contracts. A3 is a recommendation for the approval of the following tentative certified new hire for the 2021 school year pending background check. B1, recommendation for approval of the following certified resignations for the 2021-22 school year. B2, recommendation for approval of the following certified new hires for the 2021 school year. B3 is recommendation for the approval of the following tentative certified new hire for the 2021 school year, again pending background. B4, recommendation for approval of the following certified corrections for the 2021 school year. B5, recommendation for the approval of the following athletic supplementals for the 21-22 school year. B6 is recommendation for approval of the following certified adjustment and credit for the 21-22 school year. For C, we have C1, recommendation for the approval of the following classified resignations for the 2021 school year. C2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified termination for the 2021 school year. C3 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified new hire for the 21-22 school year. C4 is a recommendation for the approval of the following postseason athletic supplementals for the 2021 school year. C6 is recommendation for the approval of the following athletic supplementals for the 2021 school year. Okay, and D1 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified summer staff for the 2021 school year. Are there any questions?
C6 says 21-22 school year.
C6. Sorry, did I read that wrong? Okay, I'm sorry, I read that wrong.
So is it for the 2021 or the 2022 school year?
For the.
For C6.
For C6?
C6 is
Yes.
the 2021.
2021.
Yes, because C4 is the post-season athletic supplementals. That's for people, the track team who
Right.
went beyond the season.
Is D1 retroactive?
D1. Yes, that one, the person has worked, we did have to early authorize, but, we just completed her onboarding. So that's why that's retroactive. It's a little late.
Okay.
Are there any other questions about the personnel agenda or really anything on the superintendent's report? Let's see, on the policy, Mr. Andrews, it's, just so you know, we already had an open enrollment policy. What happened was, there were a lot of dates and other ancillary information in here, and this is just a cleaner version, and what we had before was a lot about, I guess, they were like guidelines, and so those were taken out, and I guess just basically put in as guidelines, and this is a more updated, cleaner version, of an open enrollment policy that we're reading for the first time, and then, of course, we'll have another reading next time. So just so you'll know, this is a clarification.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 6A, treasurer's comments. Ms. Allen?
Yes, I just had one comment. I had the opportunity, Dr. Cosby and myself had an opportunity to be judges for the door decorating contest in Madison Park, I think on Tuesday, I think it was. And outstanding, I really enjoyed it. We scored 11 doors.
12 doors.
12 doors.
Yeah, it's 12.
And I just remember the tree that stuck out for me, and the one red wood tree, she actually, the door looked like the tree. She had bark on it, I just thought it was outstanding. The other one was Grand Canyon, looked like you could look over and there was Grand Canyon on her door. And then the third one I really liked was, one had, she was growing plants, I can't remember the name of it, but it just, to me, they really put their creativity into what they were doing. One teacher actually said she didn't decorate the door, but when we went into her classroom looked like they were outside in the wilderness. So she had the tent over the desk, and then she had wood, like firewood on the floor. It was nice. So it was nice for me to get out of my office and see actually what I'm doing over in that office to provide those resources. So
Nice,
I enjoyed
yeah.
it,
Good, very good.
and that's all I have.
Thank you. Item 7, superintendent comments. Dr. Cosby.
Yes, I would like to agree with everything that she said. They had some beautiful pictures, and the students had to participate in making the door. And it was very hard to judge them because really they were all very well done. I also would like to tell you, if you didn't get to see it last night, but our treasurer was on TV. She was asked to comment on the fair funding compromise bill that was passed, and so she was very excited. She represented us well, so that was very nice. I would also like to say congratulations to the ELA department for putting that together for us, making it easy to understand, and for doing a great presentation. And then I saved what I think is the best for last. We have a student, she's a 5th grader at Westbrook Elementary, and I forwarded that information to the board already, but I wanted to share it with the community as well. We have a 9-year-old author. She is raising money for the local epilepsy charity and for Dayton Children's Hospital Neurology Department by a book that she wrote called Unstoppable Me. And the young lady is Jordan Farley. Her mother, Carrie Farley, is one of our people in our district. So it's really encouraging. I did talk to her mother quite a bit about it, and she's gonna be on TV some and doing some, speaking, and I asked if she'd be willing to maybe go and do like a speaking tour in our buildings here for our students. So I just wanted to share that with you. It was very interesting and really encouraging to me.
How do we donate?
How do we donate? I will definitely, I think purchase the book. I think that's it. We purchase a book, and some of that money goes to these donations. I think that's what it is.
In the email, did you list where we can purchase it?
I
Where
will
does that-
definitely find, I sent you guys the.
Right, I saw that, but it
Yeah,
didn't
so
say any place where I could actually.
You know what, they said, Beauty from Ashes LLC will be announcing this launch. And so they made it immediate release, for people to know. Maybe down on Siebenthaler, is there a thrifty boutique?
All these deals, yeah,
These deals, a thrifty boutique.
okay.
Maybe it should go in the Westbrook Library.
Yeah, that would really be cool. And that's all I have.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm sorry, just one question.
Yes.
Like the book sales that we have, like at, not Madison Park, like at, what is the name of the school? The ELC, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is that something, can we put her books, in the book sale?
I can look into that. I think we may have to do it on our own. Is this, the company that comes and brings the books and our kids purchase? Is that what that is? Yeah, that book fair. Yeah, so we can look into it, though. We may be able to get our own little table. We would have to look at their contract to see if they, would allow us to bring in some other books. So, but I will get back with you and let you know.
Okay.
Nice job. Okay, perfect. Thank you. We are at item 8, board comments. Mr. Andrews.
First of all, I want to apologize for being late, but could not be helped. So I'm in my splendid work attire. And I work outside all day, so that's my.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay. The textbook adoption that was an interesting presentation. I would like to see maybe a follow-up at the end of the first quarter.
Good idea.
Somebody come back and give us those same individuals come back and give us maybe a progress report on there. Some of the things they've learned as they are implementing this new system, or series, I should say. And our budding author, I'd like to purchase an autographed copy of that.
I can have her come and present
There we
her
go.
book to the board. Yeah, that would really be nice. And she could share it.
And that's about it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Scarce.
Thank you. I think the district should use this as an opportunity to purchase her book and put it in all the libraries, just like we would purchase any other book. I think we are presented with an opportunity to sow into to our children in this capacity. When they do things like this, we might as well do it. So I would like to see how we can make that happen and, put her in a position where she has no more room to receive, per se. Also, I would like an update on the African-American curriculum that we're supposed to be constituting to some degree, K-12, and how that's going and what that looks like for the upcoming school year. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scarce. I would like to take that a step further, and I would like to know if we have any young authors who have a book. I'm sure she's not the only one who has written a book, and if we do have any young authors who have a book, we need to pull them all out, and they need to be put on Front Street, and we need to make sure all of their books are in all of the libraries. And so I don't know how we get that call out, but I would like to see that happen as soon as we can possibly make it happen. Because, our kids do fantastic things, and I don't think we know what they do. And so we need to not just put her out there, but them all out there. That's my biggest thing. I'm trying to think what else. I think we were going to talk about the retreat, but I think we can probably hold off on that. That's going to be July 10th. The first part is from 9 to noon, and then we break off and do something, just district business after that. But the first part will be training on that day. Thank you all for hanging in there with us this evening. Appreciate you staying. Could have been somewhere else. We appreciate you hanging in there with us. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, meeting adjourned. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Scares.